Well, if you have not heard the huge news come out today, it is basically that Amazon will not build its new headquarters in New York that it was supposed to build. Amazon announced Thursday it will not build its headquarters in New York City after local opposition. The company originally planned to build the campus in the Long Island City neighborhood of Queens. The Washington Post had first reported last week that executives were thinking about not going through with it. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has warned that local and regional leaders will have to answer to voters if Amazon did not ultimately bring the 25,000 jobs to the state. As far as Amazon's statement in regards to this, they say, while polls show that 70% of New Yorkers support our plans and investment, a number of state and local politicians have made it clear that they oppose our presence and will not work with us to build the type of relationships that are required to go forward with a project we and many others envisioned in Long Island City, Amazon said in a statement. As far as Amazon's stock for the day, it hardly moved because this for Amazon is like, okay, we're not going to build it there. We'll just find somewhere else to build, all right? And the amazing thing is we have a politician out there that thinks this is great for them and their people, okay? We're going to describe them as AOC. We'll call them by their initials because I refuse to use anybody's name on the channel who has never built anything in their own lives, not a small business. Like, how can this person understand anything about economics when they are totally not even in the economic system, okay? They say anything is possible. Today was a great day for a group of dedicated everyday New Yorkers and their neighbors defeated Amazon's corporate greed, its worker exploitation, and the power of the richest man in the world. And once again, this individual, I can't find anything where they've ever really been part of the economic system from what I see. They've never built a business, they've never made investments, so I can't understand like how this person could understand anything about economics, especially when I've seen videos of them in the past where they just clearly do not understand how the economic system works. The most impressive thing this person's done is be a bartender, from my understanding, okay? So I want to explain why this was a very, very bad decision to fight Amazon in this situation. Say, Amazon, we don't want your 25,000 plus jobs, okay? I want to explain that, but first, I want to go through one of these tweets because this just amazes me, okay? I'm going through the thread of the tweets and whatnot. One of the individuals says, torpedoing your own citizens, well done. And then somebody responds back to this, and it amazes me how some people just don't understand how things work. It says, not really. Amazon was not hiring more people. They were just moving employees from elsewhere, and it's not cool a billion-dollar company gets billions in subsidies, but poor communities do not. I always think it's real interesting when somebody thinks that like poor communities don't get anything or poor people don't get any help or something like that, because I was part of the poor community for a long time in my life, okay? I was born in a government hospital, so like the government paid for me to be born, okay? All in my early years we were on food stamps, so the food came from the government at the end of the day, right? Later on in life when I was around 18, 19, I was on government health care again. I had some food stamps at that particular time. My college was paid for by the government. At that time, Obama had a plan where basically if you spent under a certain amount of money, you got all that money back. I think it was like $4,000 a year or something. I went to community college. So all my schooling was basically paid for free. So I'm like, wait, I had health care for free. I had food stamps for a while for free. I had education for free. So though this whole notion that like if you're poor, you don't get any help or something like that, and so I'm like wondering when people say this, have they never been poor? Because if you've ever been actually poor in the United States of America, you realize there's a lot of help. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden like here's a free house for you and here's a free everything, right? But as far in terms of like healthcare and food stamps and things like that, like we do have programs like that in the United States of America, okay? Now, one of these tweets just cracks me up and says, I will make it my mission to see you become a bartender again. Oh my goodness. And this guy says there's a lot of jobs walking away. This person says that's a lot of our tax money staying. And this is just a complete misunderstanding, okay? People think it was like New York City was like gonna just give Amazon a ton of money when it was actually tax incentives. And you might say, why would a state or why would cities give tax incentives for a big corporation to come build a headquarters, okay? And this is where our economic study starts for the day. And AOC, I hope you watch this because you sorely need a little understanding of this, okay? So let's be very clear. Amazon, it was going to be around 25,000 jobs they were going to have at that new headquarters. I guess it's called Headquarters 2 in New York City there, somewhere around Queens area, all right? First off, when many companies have a new headquarters, it's not like that's the only amount of employees they'll ever hire. A lot of companies, as they get bigger, they add more and more corporate campuses around the city they're in or around the state in general. And so 25,000 employees over time ends up going to 30,000, then it ends up going to 40,000, so on and so forth. I've seen this with corporation after corporation where they'll have a new headquarters, and then as that company does better and better, they have to hire in more employees, and all of a sudden they have to buy another space, another office space around there, another office space, hire a bunch more employees. So first first off, it was 25,000 employees, which is a massive amount of employees. That's not like underscore how many employees that is. That's a lot of people. And we got to ask ourselves, what type of jobs were these corporate employees going to be? These weren't like minimum wage jobs where they make like $8 an hour or something like that, okay? The majority of these people would have been on salary, but if you want to break it out to like an hourly rate, what would most of these jobs would have been around? They would have been making somewhere between like $20 and around $50 per hour, all right? These are good paying jobs. These are corporate jobs that Amazon was hiring for, not like some minimum wage jobs like a fast food worker or something like that, right? Now, this directly and indirectly affects so many different things, okay? One, you're gonna have a ton of hiring that goes on for a corporate campus like this right off the bat, okay? You're gonna have a lot of local hiring, a lot of local jobs. When we're talking about 25,000 jobs, a good amount of those are gonna come from the local market. Will some move in from other territories where Amazon might have had a headquarters in the past? Yes, that's definitely possible. But I can tell you, out of 25,000 jobs, a good chunk of them would have been locally hired individuals. Those people would have either been out of work or they would have been making less money, and they go ahead and they say, Amazon, you know, they're going to pay me more. I'm going to go ahead and work there. No one goes and applies for Amazon if they're going to pay you less or if it's less of a job or something like that, right? As far as local workers, they're looking for a job because they don't have a job or because it's going to be a step up for them and they get to make more money or something like that, okay? So you get this mass amount of local hiring going on. What does this end up producing? Well, it produces a lot more in state taxes because you got a lot more people making a lot more money, okay? So all those state taxes and those tax breaks they were talking about for Amazon, you know, that would have played out over the next few years, guess what? A lot of that money would have been just coming back to them in the state taxes alone. Then on top of that, you have what's called local taxes, okay? All the local taxes, all these people making all this money. What do? Well, not only do they have to pay taxes on that money to the state, but then on top of that, they're going to probably buy real estate properties. As real estate properties increase in value, what ends up happening? Well, New York taxes everything. So even when a real estate property is sold or bought in New York City, you have to actually pay taxes on that. So as real estate prices increase, guess what also increases? Local taxes, okay? Also, you got all these employees right in that area, right? What are they going to likely do? Well, they need to eat breakfast somewhere. They need to eat lunch somewhere. They need to eat dinner. Well, if they're working right around that area, they're much more likely to spend a lot of money at breakfast places, lunch places, dinner places. What does that end up doing? Well, that's a bunch more taxes because we know every time you go buy breakfast somewhere or lunch or dinner, guess what? There's a bunch of local and state taxes on top of that. That's more money that's produced. Also, all these places get a lot busier, which means all these folks that run these breakfast places, that serve lunch, that serve dinner, all these restaurants and little shops and whatnot, guess what? They bring in more money so they can go spend, and it's a beautiful cycle, and they can go spend more money and do more things and help out the economy in general. The economic cycle is one of the simplest things to understand, but I just don't think some people get it. There's two ways an economic cycle can go, whether we're talking about on a local basis, a situation like this, or on a macro scale. Either goes a good way where the dominoes are falling the right way or they're falling the wrong way. It's one or the other, and that's macroeconomics in the simplest terms. That's why when you see a recession and layoffs start to happen, what happens? It gets a lot worse. And more job losses lead to more job losses because this person that was making $50K a year or $100K a year, all of a sudden they lose their job and all of a sudden they can't spend a bunch of money at the pizza place down the shop. And now they got to start eating fast food. And they can't spend a bunch more money on Amazon, which ends up hiring more and more corporate employees, right? And so they cut back their spending because they don't have as much money to spend. And that's economics, okay? So whether you're looking at it on a local situation like this is, right? They were in a position where the dominoes could just keep falling the right way. 25,000 jobs is a massive amount of money to move into an area like that. And it would have been a substantial amount of state taxes and local taxes they would have made up on over the next decade or two, okay? Amazon's not going anywhere. If anything, Amazon's getting bigger, and you want to attract a company like that because 25,000 jobs now could end up meaning 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 down the road. But when you scare them away, they're going to remember that. Oh, they don't really like us over there. They think what we're doing is bad. There's a reason state and local governments are willing to give tax breaks to big corporations that hire a ton of jobs because they understand the way the economic system works. And if you have a ton of employees in a particular area that are all working, they're going to spend a lot more money in your state or in your local city. And that's what could have ended up happening here. And it puts it in a situation where the dominoes can fall the right way or the wrong way. And by scaring away 25,000 jobs, think about the construction spending that would have been on that property. Think about what that would have done for local businesses in that community, local restaurants and whatnot. All those people people could have had a lot more money in influx, and now they're just, that money's not coming there. That money's not coming there. And what also happens is you stagnate wages. Basically, when you have a huge employer like that come into the area and they're hiring all these employees, well, to get employees to their company, right, they have to outbid the other companies that are in that area, because that's how you get employees. If you're paying less, like, most people aren't going to leave their current job to go to somewhere else because it pays less money. Like, that's just not what people do, okay? So if Amazon wanted to get a bunch of local employees, they've got to pay more than what everybody else is in the area is paying, okay? And then guess what ends up happening? All the other businesses and all the other big businesses and mid-sized businesses, even small businesses, what do they have to do to attract employees? They have to pay more, which means wages go up, which is what you ideally want in an economic system, which is what she always talks about. Oh, we want wages go up. Guess what? A huge employer coming in your city like that, they're going to push wages up a lot because they're taking a ton of people out of the workforce there to come work at their place, which means that other companies, if they want to out-hire them, they have to up their wages as well, and it helps out everybody in general. And that's the economic system. It's a very simple thing to understand, but some people don't understand it that way. And sometimes I wonder, maybe she does understand it, but maybe she just thinks it's better to get these talking points like the richest man in the world, he's going to come take all our money and take all our tax money, when it's like, if you actually just sit down for a few hours and think about it, you realize how much of a benefit this would have been for the state of New York and for all the local communities around New York in general. But I think it's just a lot easier to get people going by saying, oh, they're the greediest corporation, they're Amazon, there's a billionaire Jeff Bezos, we're going to take him down. When it's like, you didn't take him down. He's going to go build that somewhere else now, and that community is going to thrive because of it, while your community is going to take a step back because you didn't go through on this. It's very simple at the end of the day, but some people just don't understand it, or they think it's just better to talk around points rather than actually think this stuff out. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this day. Let me know what you think about Amazon headquarters. Let me know if you would like an Amazon headquarters to hire 25,000 employees in your city around the country. I would love to hear from you guys, or if you're watching this and you're an international viewer, let me know if you would love Amazon to come hire 25,000 people wherever you work at this particular time. So I would love to hear from you guys in that comment section. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.